Hello students, let us start the periodic table of chemical elements and its impact on human welfare. We all know that the International Year of Periodic Table is celebrated recently in 2019. Basically, this principle of the Dr. Dmitry Mendeleev in 1869, who is mostly constructs his table and whose researches are consisting of total number of 63 number of chemical elements in his periodic table. But just glimpse, look at the glimpse of the entire periodic table at a glance. It's a chart based representation of all the known elements in this universe. That is total consists of 118 numbers. This table is total organizes the elements by their chemical properties, which consist of the atomic number and the atomic weight. In modern periodic table, out of total 118 elements, the first 94 elements occurs naturally. That means that have already been collected from the nature, and the remaining 24 named from americium to organocyan, that is the atomic number 95 to 118, that occurs only when synthesized in laboratories. That means the artificially humanly made. Total 18 number of vertical columns found in this periodic table, which indicates the group or the families, and whereas 7 rows which indicate the periods. So, in this total periodic table, 18 vertical columns and 7 horizontal columns, that constitute totally 118 number of elements. Majorly these elements as metals, contains metals that are shown in the left part of the table, whereas the non-metals and the metalloid and the noble gases that are found in the right part of the periodic table. At a time, this table gives of the atomic number, the symbol, the name, and atomic weight of the chemical elements. Just look at the right side, the carbon element, that means carbon shows the 6, C, carbon and 12.1. That means carbon is the symbol, 6 is the atomic number, carbon is the name, and 12.01 is the atomic weight. Majorly the protons found in the nucleus of an atom, or the number of electrons surrounding the nucleus of an atom, is known as the atomic number, whereas the number of proton and the neutron in the nucleus of an atom is known as the atomic weight. So, elements of a group are similar because of their atoms have the same number of valence electrons found in the outermost energy layer of an atom, which taking part in chemical bonding. The real credit of preparing the entire periodic table goes to Dmitry Mendeleev in 1869, who arranged major 63 elements according to their atomic weight. But recently we found the modern periodic table that is consist of total 118, including entire elements of the universe till date. In modern periodic table, we can find the number of protons, the number of electrons, and the number of neutrons in an element using this periodic table. That the number of protons and the equal to number of atomic number, and the number of electrons is also the atomic number, but the number of neutrons equal to atomic number minus the atomic weight. That means atomic weight equal to electron plus proton. So, we know that element is the substance which composed of a single kind of atoms and cannot be broken down into another substances by chemical or physical means. Most examples of elements are the individual metals and non-metals, but the compounds are the substances which two or more different elements are chemically bonded together. That is the metalloids, which are shown in the red color in this table. And the mixture is the two or more substances that are mixed together but are not chemically bonded. For example, the ocean is a mixture. That means it contains entire co-elements, some compounds as a whole in its ingredients. Just look at the elements of the periodic table can be divided into three main categories of metals, non-metals and metalloids. You just look at the color of the table, that the entire green part is known as the non-metal, whereas the bluish part is the metal, but the conjunction part, that is the red the pink part is the metalloids. So the representation of entire periodic table shows a clear view of the total elements that's in nature and their characteristics as a whole. So we can divide the entire periodic table in major four blocks according to their utility and the human impact. That is the S block, P block, D block and F block. First of we discuss the S block, that contains 14 numbers of columns from 1A plus 1 2A plus helium. The total elements are metals, forms covalent hybrid bonds and known as the building block of organic compound. That means they are shiny, silvery, good conductors of heat and electricity and lose their valence electrons easily, and famous for being ingredients in fireworks that we uses in generally our Diwali and special occasions. So the ionic form of potassium, strontium and barium makes appearance in firework displays as the brilliant purples, reds and greens respectively. Also, it mostly found as the micro minerals like sodium, potassium, magnesium, calcium in most of the organisms. Then P block, that consists of 36 number of columns, that is from 3A to 8A elements that are mainly or commonly recognized as metalloids and having properties of both metals and non-metals. That is boron, that is the micronutrient and used in fertilizers industries, and silicon and germanium, that are the main ingredient in glass industries and to make the microchips in our computers using and other electronic devices. Then the arsenic, that is the additive to metal alloy and paints and even of our makeup activities. Then D block elements, that contains total 40 number of elements grouped from 3 to 12, and elements are also termed as the transition element. These elements are majorly D block elements are the metals, hard and fragile, magnetic nature and great conductors of electricity and heat. Mostly used in industrial purposes, vastly in human welfare purposes. Then F block elements, that consists of total 28 number of elements, that's atomic number starting from 57 to 70 and 89 to 102, also known as the lanthanides and actinides. These elements generally have a radioactive nature and have great usage in power generation and atomic power and used in defense sector. Now we just focus on the education sector, that we get a wide amount of knowledge about the chemical elements which is necessary for making different necessary products, that is medicines, and which is very useful now for chemics students to teach or enlighten the future scopes of the chemistry related research works which can easily found in our periodic table. Then chemical elements are also important factor in the branches of biology and physics. So the knowledge gained from the periodic table is also important for these branches of science. So it has a great positive impact on our education. Then if you consider the health sector, then it has also major impact, that the oxygen, for example, is an element on periodic table which is used for mankind in various sphere of life, including hospital and patients who have breathing problems. And sodium elements, that is useful in the human body, and it is also helps body cell transmit nerve signals and regulates water level in tissue and blood. So it helped to discover various methods to produce new compounds which are used in making drugs and medicine. The example, the iodine isotope I-131 is used for thyroid treatment. We all know now named as the thyroxine. And then if we consider the industrial sector, the carbon, the number is 6 in the periodic table, that has a huge impact on the human's life. That is diamond, graphites are the examples of the carbon. Then nitrogen is the great impact of chemical industry, mainly used in fertilizers, dyes, and explosive making process. And the transition block, that is the D block elements of the periodic table, are involved in everything from the solar energy conversion to organic synthesis. So next we consider the uranium 235 and 236, that are the nuclear power production system and the electricity production system which is mostly support the human activity or the human welfare. So use of aluminum foil for packing of foods and other domestic as well as also the industrial purpose. That the mercury in the thermometer used in the calculate the fever temperature in thermometer, and the chlorofluorocarbon inside the refrigerator, air condition, and the aeronautical aviation sector are mostly useful as fuel. Sodium and chlorine used in our diets and water purification process, and the graphites used in writing and nuclear power plants, and the use of gold, that is aurum, and silver, that argentinium, is making of jewelry which has most demand nowadays, and the iron, the aluminum as the consider the major industrial ingredients nowadays. And if you consider the defense or protection sector, the new periodic table of the droplets could help solve crimes, that is droplet motion, inspired in part by parallel between the symmetries of atomic orbitals which determine elements' position on the classic periodic table, and the energies that determine the droplet shapes. And also the use of radioactive elements as atomic power of the nation and various weapons, etc. So the major elements that are generally placed in this periodic table, each has a specific and special characteristics that supports today's life. So thanks student for watching this video. Next, thank you.